This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Man.
We got your shot to win tickets to Summer of Loud 2025. That's Friday, July 11th at Somerset Amphitheater. See performances from Beartooth, I Prevail, Parkway Drive, and more. Head over to our contest page to see how you can win today. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Common. He's Teneby. It's been a very fast-paced, action-packed, and, especially with that last segment, controversial Common Man program. But controversy dogs me everywhere I go. Let's go ahead and put that in the past and dive into 534.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
All Vikings, let's win this game. You'll hear us yell for more.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the state of the Skull.
Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson was on the Green Light podcast with Chris Law.
Green Light. We've got the Green Light special.
And he said that J.J. McCarthy reminds him of Matthew Stafford.
And a sick arm. I remember catching, and I told him this the other day, I said, I remember catching passes from Staff, and it was one of those balls where, it just zips on you, it looks like it's not, it looks like it's not coming, but it's coming, and JJ's got the juice behind it where, it kind of has that effect where it doesn't look like it's coming. It's a tight spiral, but it's coming, it's humming in the air. So, he's got an insane talent, arm talent, and really the personality that he has goes really well. And I think he's going to have a long career.
Common, your thoughts on TJ Hawkinson comparing J.J. McCarthy to Matthew Stafford?
Did you see that? I wish we were on audio. I actually, when you read it, I was taking a drink of my Diet Coca-Cola. It came out my nose.
Spit take?
Well, I'm not. That's not a bit. It really happened. It's one of the most Matthew Stafford won a big game. The kid hasn't even played a real game in the NFL, and you're already making that comparison? Maybe he'll end up being better than
Let's talk about his throwing motion.
Well, I know, but still.
And how the ball zips at him.
Well, PA was the one that said you could hear it cutting through the breeze at Winter Park.
The way it spins in the air.
I don't know. What else do you expect Hawkinson to say? I'm not saying he's not telling the truth. He could very well be. And he could be very much he's got Matty Stafford in him. But you don't expect him to go, well, he's got a lot of work to do. Because he's on your team. You want to let him, oh, yeah, he's the greatest ever. So, yeah, I mean, hope that's true. Because Stafford can spin it. You know, I know he's not everybody's cup of tea. I think there are people that always thought Stafford was a bit overrated. And I understand that a lot of those fourth quarter comebacks were because when you're always trailing, when you're, the numbers he would put up and such like that, he's playing with a terrible team, right? So you can put up some gaudy numbers late in garbage time, right? He's trying to bring them back. But Stafford could always, you can't deny his toughness. He gave no quarter and he asked for none. God, I love that phrase. He's just really good. So if he can spin it like Stafford, that's a great step.
Well, he can spin it like Stafford and he can run.
Yeah. Well, then that's a step.
I mean,
yeah, if he can do that.
Sounds like a parade to me.
Yeah, that's do you like parades?
Question number 2.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hip hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins begin a 3-game series with the Baltimore Orioles tonight at Target Field, and the Twins activated both Royce Lewis and Willie Castro for this series. Common, will the Twins get a boost from the return of Royce? So Royce Lewis, as a third baseman for the Minnesota Twins, has had some magical moments in hitting multiple grand slams early on in his career, but has had a lot of injury issues, tends to be on the injured list a bunch.
I Googled during the program. I was actually desperate to try to fill time. That Monday show can be you weren't in. I mean, and look, Blakemore does a great job, but no Rose and no guest. Monday can start. So I started scrambling for material, and the story had said that Royce Lewis is going to be activated from the IR. So I wanted to look at his injury history. Whatever Grok AI or whoever it was providing information, couldn't have been right. He didn't miss 2 seasons in a row completely, right? He didn't miss all of 2023 and all of 2024. That's what it says. That's what Grok AI said.
I know he had a really long-term injury.
Well, he did, but I don't think he was out for both seasons. But he has had a litany of injuries. I mean, there have been problems. He has been very Byron Buxton-like in that regard, where, and you know, we've tried to guess or figure out what the issue is, and I think you nailed it when these guys.
Yeah, he missed 2020 and 2021.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought this said he missed 2023, but anyway, so he missed 2 seasons completely. He's missed a lot of baseball.
Well, 2022 he played 12 games.
Okay.
2023 he played 58. 2024 he played 82.
That basically is missing all the season, pretty much, right? So I don't know. Am I supposed to expect that now? It's all going to be fine. You know, we kept waiting that. Remember with Buxton? Maybe this will be the year he plays a lot of games. Maybe this will be the year. Buxton, so far, so good. He's been hitting the ball really well the last few weeks. He's starting to he's starting to look like the player everybody had expected him to be. But I have no reason to believe that Lewis is going to stay healthy. I don't know. You just talked about how few games he played every season. If he can stay healthy, yeah, he should boost not just the morale and the spirits of the club, but he should provide a boost on the field with wins. The guy can hit the ball. We know that. The one thing, remember,
don't get hurt running the bases.
Just don't get hurt running the bases. So, but I'll have to see it to believe it if he can play an extended period of time, or if he's going to be one of those guys that plays 20, 30 games and he's out. It's been a shame, actually.
Question number 3. It's time now for multiple choice.
Which NBA round 2 favorite that is currently down 1-0 in their series is least likely to come back and win their series? It would be A, Cleveland against Indiana, B, Boston versus the Knicks, or C, OKC against Denver.
OKC was having their way with Denver until I mean, it was close throughout. It wasn't a blowout. I mean, there were some larger leads, but this the strategy of OKC is being debated and questioned, and probably for good reason. And if Denver plays like they're capable of, I mean, we saw what they could. I mean, how about Joker? 42, 22, and 5. I think it said he's only the fourth or fifth player in NBA history in the playoffs to have as many as 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 5 assists in a game. It's like, but I would still think OKC's talented enough to come back. I'll be honest, I shouldn't admit this working the All Sports. I don't know enough about the Pacers and who are they playing again? Cavaliers?
Yes.
I don't know. I know the Cavs have been really good. I don't know about the Pacers. So, I think what we are seeing though is these are the best teams in the league that have reached the semifinals, and it's fun. Again, I've not been a big hoops guy when it comes to postseason play, particularly if the part of the reason I have more interest in the other series is because we have a team in town that's good now. You've heard me say that a million times. Why? It's hard to get excited. I always use college football as the example, is that, the Gophers for so many years were just so mediocre that there's no reason to get excited to go, well, I wonder how we stack up with the rest of the nation. And same here. It's like, well, the Wolves are going to win 20, 30 games in a season and not make postseason play. The Wild weren't going to make postseason play, so why pay attention? But I love I love it when the Wolves are playing like they are. So I don't know if I can answer that question. I think that's why they play the games, Tennessee. That's why they lace up the Chuck Taylors.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Tennessee, how about some bonus buck keyword stuff?
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com wants to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with their national cash contest. Enter the keyword win at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is win. Enter now at KFAN.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Get ready for Game 1 with the pregame party presented by Youngsteads. Max and Parker will take you into Game 1 with energy only they can bring, plus special guests to help break down the matchup with Golden State. The party tips off tonight at 6:30 right here on KFAN and the iHeartRadio app, or you can watch live at KFAN.com/watch.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. He is Tennessee. Text messages accepted at the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line at 64686. This one says, my favorite part of the 5 questions segment is when Ten asks Common a question after rambling for 3 minutes. Common ends up by saying, I don't think I can answer that question.
I always love that one.
That's exactly what he said. Ialto. Great segment. Well, sometimes I can't answer a question.
I thought he was going to say, my favorite part of 5 questions is when Tenna asks a question, but Common's not done eating his food yet, so then Tenna has to extend the question even longer.
That's my favorite. Speaking of questions, I have one for LaBelle Neal, closed circuit if he's listening. If I could guarantee you the Twins would win a World Series, would you trade Royce Lewis?
I always love that one.
I'm just wondering if he would do that now. Because when I asked him that question before, he said not a chance. Because he thought Royce Lewis...
Guessing his opinion might change now.
He thought Royce Lewis was going to bring us multiple World Series opportunities. And that still could happen, I guess. But I'm not holding my breath. I have to do this one, Ted. I didn't want to keep on the Jimmy Buckets thing, but I guess here's one. Who does Common think Butler disliked most on the Wolves? Towns. All Common does now is sing Towns' praises while trying to gaslight Wolves fans. What does gaslight mean? There was a movie called Gaslight. I think might have been a Hitchcock film. If I'm not mistaken, it could have been someone else. And basically what it was is you would try to drive somebody crazy. So like tend to be, for instance, like if you were trying to drive someone you lived with crazy, you would like take a lamp that's on one end table and put it on another. So the person would go, wasn't that lamp over there? And you go, it's always been there. I don't know what you're talking about. That's what to me, what is gaslight?
Gaslight.
To cause a person to doubt their judgment, memory, or sanity through the use of psychological manipulation, or the second part is a little more accurate too, to deceive a person or group of people through repetition of a constructed false narrative.
So that's what he's saying I'm doing when I talk about Towns. He says, Towns has always been a box score. See current playoff series. Never been anything else. Common and Blandon called Towns. I don't know if you called him the heart and soul of the team.
I've never done that. Towns?
Yeah.
No.
I did last year. I thought last year he was the heart and soul of the team, more so than Ant. I think he was the guy that had been through it all. Ant hadn't been through all the ups, and nobody had been through what Towns had been through on this team. And Towns was, he didn't complain and moan when Gobert came to the club. He played better defense. I just thought he was the guy that the team, because they knew what he'd gone through and what he'd meant to this organization, I think he was the glue for that team last year, and I'll never back down on that. Common and Blandon called Towns the heart and soul of the Wolves last year. LOL, either you're stupid lying or just being intellectually honest. You're lying to yourself because you don't want it to be that. You don't want to ever think... Well, fans, and this, I got to think it's not just in Minneapolis, and it's not just Wolves fans. They always want to believe their teams are making the right decision and all is right with the world, and that it couldn't possibly be that, maybe there are issues with your club, and maybe there are issues with some of your personnel, and maybe it ain't what you think it is, and maybe it's other people. Towns was brilliant last year. He was the reason they beat Denver.
Agreed.
He was the reason they beat.
He was a big part of that, yeah.
He was a really big part of that. And he goes, always been a boxer. See current playoff series. Well, if you want to go with that, then what about Ant in the deciding game against the Lakers? He only got 17 points. I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? It's how can you look at a box score of a game, and if a guy didn't have 32, 22, and 8, he's just nothing but a box score. If he didn't do anything. Sometimes teams... That
was LaVelle Neal about Kirill Kaprizov, game 1 of the series against Vegas.
Right.
He just tweeted Kaprizov, 1 shot on goal. It's like, we've been watching the game. He's assisted on their 2 goals. He's been one of their best players in the game.
And there are, especially in basketball, there are times when teams make a concerted effort to stop another player on the team. Or it's a bad matchup for that team. Not every player. There are a handful. It's hard to stop Joker. It's hard to stop Curry, right? But they have been slowed down over the years. But there are certain players that it's just real. Ant has become one of those players. It's very difficult to stop Ant. Sometimes you can stop players. Sometimes guys just have off nights, too. Do I think Towns is the best player in the league? No. All I know is Knickerbockers are doing mighty fine right now. And so are the Wolves. I always would cringe when people would say, the best trades are the ones that work out for both teams. And I oftentimes think, well, that doesn't happen that often, but it can. Think about this. If I remember, I don't think Tibbs was I didn't think he was a big Towns guy when he was here. I didn't think. Maybe I missed that. But he traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know the Wolves had to make the trade because they had to get rid of somebody, right? But they had too many people making too much money. So they had to go in a different direction. It looked like for the better part of 60 games, and again, Wolves fans will deny this. It's called revisionist history. They will say, no, it was always the best trade for us. It's been good since day one. DiVincenzo and Randall were both injured a lot. They were having trouble mixing and matching with the team. By the way, Jimmy Buckets didn't have any trouble. The day one when he stepped on the court with Golden State, they were really good. There was no adjustment period, no gelling. But it looked like the New York got the better end of that deal because it didn't take Towns long to adjust either. He was very good for the Knickerbockers. But now, after some injury problems and getting acclimated with the club, Randall and this week, do we want to say DiVincenzo or DiVincenzo? Which one do you want to go with?
We'd ask Rosie in a half hour.
Let's go with DiVincenzo for now. They both played terrific. They're both big parts of this team. And it's worked well for New York. I mean, they've gotten everything they wanted out of Bodega Cat. So maybe it is one of those trades that are good for both teams. I get the feeling, at least from what I've seen to this point, even though the Knicks won last night, I still think there's a greater chance the Wolves can go deeper in postseason play than the Knickerbockers. But you did levy a word of caution, and I think you're right. I think fans, and it just happens when your team gets on a roll, and they just they've been playing great since Randall got back. I think you mentioned whatever that, right, 25-5, whatever it is, 24-6. I don't know. It's been terrific since Randall's gotten back, and then they just dismantled the Lakers. Hard not to be excited about the club, but a lot of cunning and
I think
guile.
Warriors are a different challenge.
Yeah, there's some cunning and guile over there. There's no question. We'll break. We'll basically set the stage for the return of the legendary Mark Rosen. He'll join us just before 2 here on The Fan.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
The legendary Bryan Adams is set to wrap up his Roll with the Punches tour at Target Center on November 26th, and you could be there. Check out our contest page to see how you can enter to win a pair of tickets. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter today.
Couple 13-14 past. This is the Common Man program. Big Ticket JG at 3. And Mark Rosen waiting in the wings to join us. Tenby, yesterday we talked a little bit. Brett Blakemore is a big Wild fan, and we talked, it's been a good segment or so talking about Kirill Kaprizov.
Yeah.
There was a story, Fish Wrap Factory West Side, in which they talked to Kaprizov after the season was over. That's the biggest question to be answered. I think he has 1 year remaining before he can become a free agent. The Wild can they could sign a new deal with him at July 1st, right? There's a time period that happens first. And I think the Wild would like to get that done. He's eligible to sign an extension on July 1st. I don't know if he's gone this far in talking about his interest in staying here or not, but there were two quotes, Tenneby. The one that says, this is my agent job, talk with Billy, but we will see. I love everything here, but should be all good. When asked if he wants to get a deal done before the season starts, he says, probably. I don't know. We'll see. What do you make of those? They're kind of vague, and I guess they probably should be, right? You do kind of leave it to your agent.
Sure.
Maybe he really doesn't know absolutely positively what he wants to do, but I did think it was encouraging that he said, I love everything here, but should be all good.
Yes. And even Bill Guerin spoke with the media today, both him and John Hines, as part of their kind of like season-ending wrap-up press conference. And obviously, Bill was asked about Kaprizov, confidence level of signing him. And he basically said, goals to sign him. And he seemed pretty confident in the way he responded to it. I know a year ago or 8 months ago, there was, some reporters maybe having some doubts about, they got to win this year for Kaprizov to want to return. That, they have everything he would probably want other than the winning aspect of it, because Minnesota is the only team that can give him an 8-year contract. Everyone else, if he goes to free agency, he can only get 7 years max. So there's a built-in advantage for the team wanting to re-sign you. They're going to be able to offer you more guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. Maybe all the injury stuff he's had, it might not do him much good to try to wait out another year. Like his value might get lower.
Yeah.
Probably won't, because he's a superstar, but there is a risk of playing it out another year, and if you have another injury-riddled season, damaging the amount of money. He's going to make a lot of money here. He's going to get an extra year that nobody else can offer. He's going to get $14-15 million a year here. So money is zero issue, and he's really probably only going to hinder his chances of getting that by continuing to move forward. It's unlikely that money's going to keep going up if he sits out another year. Minnesota is a good hockey market. It's similar to where he was at home. He's very well loved by his teammates. He seems to have good relationships with all them. He seems to have a good relationship with Guerin. So I had some concerns just based off of some of the reports last summer. I think there was probably mostly more of a negotiating play. I think he's gonna resign here.
I guess I'm in the minority on that extra year meaning that big of a deal, and I guess you're of the opinion that it's very important, and other people, I guess, believe that as well. But like, if I play one more year out and I sign a 7-year contract at $14 to $15 million a year, or I sign an 8-year contract at $14, $15 million, that's 1 year. I get that, but if you're planning to have a long career, you're probably going to get another contract, so you're going to make up that money one way.
Well, I mean, by the time he'd be a free agent 7 years from now, you're now talking about would be 35 years old. So I mean, the odds are he still could be playing at a level high enough to be making that amount of money. And frankly,
Ovechkin is.
Sure.
Sidney Crosby is.
Yeah. I'm not doubting that he couldn't. I'm just saying the law of averages, the probabilities are, at 35, you're not producing like you were at 28. Alexander Ovechkin's a rare breed.
You have to...
The guy eats and drinks whatever he wants and doesn't work out and is still...
Sounds like Doncic, but doesn't work quite as well for him.
He is the Doncic. He's exactly right. All offense, no defense. Doesn't really take care of himself, but is just in a whole nother world offensively.
He's a natural.
Yes. Nobody can shoot a buck better than him.
I do zero show prep. I'm a high school dropout, yet here I am.
You, Doncic, and Ovechkin are all very similar.
Yeah.
I appreciate
that. I appreciate you doing that. And look, it's not like I tried to force you into that or anything like that. It wasn't like I was making the comparison. It just kind of came out. I appreciate you saying that.
But
can you start just calling me Covey? For Cole, Covey, like Ovi, just call me Covey. Or maybe call me Kobe.
Can I call you Kolvetchkin?
Oh, I like that. Kolvetchkin. Or you know what? You can call me Kolchik or Kolchik, whatever you prefer. Every week you could change it depending on what kind of a mood you're in.
But on Kaprizov, like the question was, can the Wild win here? And obviously there's still answers that are still unanswered. But they were doing well before his injury. They are now going to have $20 million in cap space this summer with the Parise Suter things coming off the books. They do have some young talent that's on the rise, including one of Kaprizov's country mates in Urov coming over next year, who could jump right into the lineup. Buyum, you would expect to be potentially a star player here moving forward. Like, I know Wild fans are disappointed because it's like 10 straight years of not getting out of the first round of the playoffs. But if Kaprizov stays here, their best years should be. I know I've called them the skate treats before,
yes,
but their best years should be ahead of him here in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And as long as he understands that, I don't think there would be a problem.
Do you think it would be a good move for the Wild to not only sign Kaprizov, but get Suter and Parise back? And then we could really go to the thrilling days of skate triouts years? Let me ask you another question. Roughly, what is it, $20 million of money to play with now?
Yep.
So if you sign Kaprizov, how much of that $20 million, is that like, let's say he signs for $15 million a year. Does that mean because I don't understand. I can't balance a checkbook.
Yeah.
So now we only have $5 million to spend then?
No. Because so the $20 million is for this upcoming season.
Yeah, okay.
Which he is already due $9 million.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That extension will kick in after that $9 million's up.
Okay.
Now at that point you need to worry about future caps and maybe you have to cut money. But you have other salaries.
And Faber's going to need money too, right?
His is kicking in.
Oh, his is. What kind of dough is he making?
He should be kicking in.
And he's making really good dough. Am I right or am I wrong?
His kicks in next season, so he'll be making $8.5 million.
And that's a lot of it.
But the cap is going up.
Yeah, it is.
So they have $20 million, including Faber's money for next season. That's including Kaprizov for $9 million. So I guess if you wanted to go 2 years out, that Kaprizov's going to go from 9 to 15.
Yeah.
But, you do have other guys like Zuccarello's contract might be up.
Because he's thinking about retiring, right?
Yeah, he's only got one more year left, at least in terms of his contract.
Right.
So that's money that can come out.
Where's Gus Bus at with money? Is he still early in it?
He's probably going to get himself paid this summer as well. Because he only now has one more year on his contract. Okay. So next year, he'll be a free agent after next year, and he's due $3.75 million. Now, they did have a prospect goalie, waiting in the wings that you were expecting to be, the next star. He did not have a good season in Iowa. And after the season Gustafsson had, you might want to commit long-term to him. But they're in good shape where, let's say 6 of that 20 is going to go to Kaprizov long-term. You still now have 14 to work with.
Okay.
You can bring in.
What about
2 $7 million guys or a $9 and a $5 million guy?
Are there any other?
Now Rossi's due a raise.
That's what I was going to ask. Are there any other guys on the roster right now that in the next year or two are going to eat up a pretty big chunk of it if we keep?
Marco Rossi's due a raise, and that's why I think he's going to get traded this summer.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, even Bill Guerin today in his press conference said. He was asked, hey, what kind of positions do you want to address in the offseason? He said, well, we're good at D. He's like, I'd like to get another center. Mm-hmm. He said, we need to get Joel Eriksson some help. Just he's doing too much. He's taking on too much of a load, and obviously he's had some injury stuff. Well, to me, that's a direct shot at Marco Rossi, who was also demoted to the 4th line in the playoffs. I think they look at Rossi as, hey, he's a fine player. He can add to some scoring. But do you want to know? They apparently reportedly offered him 5 years, $5 million a year earlier during the season. Rossi turned that down. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing they go, hey, would we like Rossi at $5 million? Sure. Do we want Rossi at 6, 7, whatever he's asking for? And for a guy that you don't know if he can play in the playoffs, if he can hold up physically in a playoff series or play that style, because the game does change. And they do have Urov coming over. He's going to be a center. I think they're going to go out and get a guy like Brock Nelson as a center. So what, you're going to pay him that much money and then slot him on the third, fourth line again?
And we can
that doesn't make sense.
build this thing together.
So I think they're going to trade him.
What about
and Rossi made it clear to the reporters he wasn't happy about getting demoted.
Yeah.
He was professional about it, but he was honest about.
Where's Eki in his contract? He's all lock, stock, and barrel. We don't have to.
He's one of the best deals on the team,
and we don't have to worry about him for a while.
He's under contract for 3 more seasons at $5.25 million, which is an absolute steal.
Yeah. Do guys like that ever get bitter? I know there's nothing they can do about it, but did they go, wait a minute now? Because we see that happen in football a lot, other sports where guys go, hey, wait a minute now. I know when I signed the deal, it was probably good, but I'm worth more than that, and or do they just go, too bad?
I mean, he's worth more than that, but at the time he signed,
right, there
was risk. Because I think they gave him, if I recall, did they give him an 8-year deal?
I don't remember.
But at the time he signed, it wasn't like, hey, this guy is going to be a sure thing at this dollar amount. He could exceed that value, but there was risk on the Wild side.
Yeah. I just wonder, though, sometimes if guys do become a little bit, I'm not saying he'd be a malcontent, but he's like, what about me? And then team almost feels obligated because, you know what, just in fairness, that, we got you we're getting you for a steal. You're worth $2 million more a year, but we got you. If they would acquiesce and maybe renegotiate with
even Boldy's going to be making $7 million for the next 3 years. He's better than a $7 million player.
Okay.
Now, at the time you signed him, I'm sure he was, 22 years old.
Right.
22 years old, and you were taking a risk in signing him to that amount. The teams take on the risk just as much as players take the risk of outperforming their contract.
Now, you were not here. You were, while the rest of us were pacing back and forth, edge of our seat, biting our nails. You were out gallivanting on golf courses everywhere over in Blandon News. The Wild lost that
Game 6.
The Game 6. What did you see it, or did you?
All I saw was the first half of the first period, and then I had a tea time.
What are your?
So.
Say it isn't so, tennis. Say it isn't so.
It's so weird being on the West Coast and having all these games start at 4:30 out there. It's really weird.
There, you wish you would have had a late start.
Yeah. So I saw Vegas's first goal, and I didn't really see a whole lot.
But I'm sure you talked to some people and read some things. I
actually didn't read up a whole lot about the game.
Oh,
no.
Could you have just lied and be like me and pretend you did? I was wondering.
I don't want to gaslight our listeners.
Okay. So then, do you share?
You could probably tell me more about Game 6 than I could tell about you.
It was.
I know they lost 3-2, and Hartman scored both of them.
Yeah, and we had.
I think I did watch the highlights of all the goals.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. It was, and it's interesting where, again, you know how you always have your duckies and your bunnies, and then your wet blankets like me, and there are those that were, those games could have gone either way, and they could have, but then there other people would respond with, well, yeah, that's true, but in hockey, games often, especially in the place, are close. It's like you got to win those close games. You were up 2-20, you lost 3 games in a row, right? So it's like, you can talk all you want about OT losses and puck luck and such like that.
I guess in comparison to how they've played in past playoff series, it seemed more encouraging.
Right? Yeah. So I would
still
not
good enough. You're still losing the first round.
I would absolutely agree with you.
And I think the organization, while they couldn't ever say it in previous seasons, they were always looking to the 2025, 2026 season as that's when we're going to take the next step.
And I would
just
guess
because of the salaries against them.
Guerin probably given some leeway and a longer leash, and for all the right reasons, because I got to think ownership. Leipold's got, he knows the situation as well as anybody, better than anybody. We've got no cap space. We blundered the move. The Parisi Suter thing didn't work out like we thought it would, and he's got no money to work with. So that's why, for me, as somebody forget about not paying as close attention as I ever did. I never really have paid that close attention. Going into the season, I thought, to me, it again was another. They were like, what is it? The C section in sports page. To me, they were like page 5C. They're not going to do anything. They're still under that the contracts of Parisi and Suter. And, they might be a decent team, and then you saw the way they started. They were amongst the best teams in the National Hockey League for the first month or month and a half, and your guy
like 2.5 months.
Yeah, 2.5 months, and your guy Kaprizov was in the conversation as a Hart Trophy winner, and so I was actually pleasantly surprised they were playing as well as they did. And then you did wonder, though, like, look, could it have been Twins like last year? Remember how well the Twins were playing? They were dominating the division, and then suddenly, I don't remember the exact record, was it 12 and 38 or however the end of the season when they just went completely in the tank. We don't know if the Wild would have went completely in the tank with Kaprizov and Eki had they not been hurt, but
they wouldn't have.
But they wouldn't have. That's what I'm saying. I just don't think they would have because they held on to a playoff spot. Certainly, they didn't continue to play at the level they were when they had Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek healthy. But with those two, who knows if they would have stayed healthy and continued to play the way they were? Who knows where the team would have gone? They may have made a deeper run, but they did kind of pick up, and they gave. I've totally stopped watching the NHL now, and I know that didn't come as a surprise to you. Where do we? Did Golden Knights start there?
They haven't started. They haven't started yet. Round 2, I believe, just the second round just started last night. Toronto took down Florida. But the Golden Knights,
who do they
play Edmonton. That series hasn't started yet.
Is that the Connor McDavid overrated guy?
Yes. They play tonight at 9:30, and then you got Stars-Jets starts tomorrow because the Jets needed a Game 7 win against St. Louis in pretty miraculous-like fashion.
Let me guess, that's another late start. Why do they not care about...
Yeah, that's 9:30 tomorrow night.
Why do they not... don't they want to expand the game and...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And we're the state of hockey, for crying out loud. Nobody cares more than we do. They're doing 9:30 starts.
Well, and they're doing it so they have a little bit of a doubleheader, right? So, like, tonight, you've got Carolina, Washington at 7 o'clock, Edmonton, Vegas at 9:30. Why can't you just make the Carolina-Washington game 6 o'clock here? It'd still be 7 o'clock on the East Coast. So it's not like you're starting them early. They're used to playing 6 o'clock games out there. Make it 6 and 8:30, or make it 6 and 9.
This is why.
Do I need to run this league?
I was going to say this is why you should.
What's
be commissioner.
Wrong with them? And they're doing it again tomorrow night.
Well, don't advertisers.
So on the East Coast, they're starting games at 8 o'clock their time.
But I think that I think that prime time. Rosie's a TV guy. He would understand this better than anybody. I think on the East Coast, you want it. You want to be after 8 o'clock. In the evening is when you want to be playing 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night to lead into the local news.
Well, it'll still be 7 o'clock their time and go 7 to 9:30.
I don't think they think that's late enough. I think they think it needs to be later than 7 because especially in New York, commute times are so slow. If you work till 5, you don't get home till 9. So it's all the running a racket is what they're doing.
And then that West Coast game that says 9:30, it's not starting at 9:30. They're gaslighting you. It's a lie. They'll set at 9:52.
Why is everybody trying to gaslight people?
I'm sick of the gaslighting.
Here I am gaslighting people about towns, gaslighting people about
Rose is going to come in and gaslight you.
Oh, that's all he does is gaslight. Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace. I don't know why I said that. I was thinking gaslight, Safe Light, whatever the case may be. Let's do this. Let's reset like in pinball. I think we tilted there. At least I did. When we return, the legendary Mark Rosen will join us. We'll talk a little of this, a little of that, with the emphasis on the lat. Plenty of Wolves Warriors talk with Rosie next.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.